Hello fellow flyers. I'm going to do an EFT session, that's emotional freedom technique for fear of flying. If you're not familiar with the technique, it's very simple. I'm going to show you the points and then we're going to tap along and see how it goes. The first point is here, it's called the karate chop point. You can use one or two fingers right here where it's the karate chop. Okay. The next point is on the top of your head. I normally do a sort of woodpecker type thing on the top of your head. The next part is here on the tips of your eyebrows right here. Then on your temples. Then on the fleshy part under your eyes. Then just under your nose, the moustache. Just in the cleft of your chin. On the nubs of your collarbones right here. Okay, and then finally tapping under the armpit where your bra strap would be if you're a lady. Okay. All right, so let's follow along. We're going to do a kind of global fear of flying. It's really important before you start is to assess your level of fear. So that's from 0 to 10. So think to yourself, right now, how do I feel? On a scale of 0 to 10, how scared am I? And we're going to go with a 10, as most people with fear of flying are right up there. Okay, so let's start with that. Even though, and just repeat what I say straight afterwards, okay? And I'll give you time to do that. Even though I have this fear of flying, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Okay. This fear of flying, 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 this fear of flying. Okay. Once you've done that, reassess. Are you still a 10 or are you an 8? Let's assume it's died down to about a 7. Okay. And now we're going to do round 2. Round 2 is just slightly different and we're going to change it and you'll see what I mean. So let's start again. Even though I have this remaining fear of flying, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. This remaining fear of flying, 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 this remaining fear of flying. Okay, let's say we're down to about a 5. And let's try it again with a slight variation, okay? Even though I have this remaining fear of flying, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And I forgive myself for anything I may have done to contribute to this. And I forgive anyone else for anything they may have done to contribute to this. This remaining fear of flying, 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 this remaining fear of flying. Okay, let's reassess. Okay, let's assume we're down to a 2 or a 1, and that's quite acceptable. It could be a 0, but basically you keep repeating that process until you're down to a 0, or at least an acceptable half, so it's almost in the background. Flying has many aspects, so I'm going to pick one and show you how to deal with that. Let's assume you've done this process, you've got to the airport, you're still really calm, you get on the plane, everything's fine, you're taxiing to the runway, and then the engines start to rev up. That's what gets you. So let's deal with that. By the way, you may find that one of these tapping points are really good. For me, it's the collarbone. If ever I get anxious about anything, I immediately just tap that, because some people, you get conscious, self-conscious about tapping in public. So you can quietly do that, or you can even imagine it. You can imagine a tapping, and that has an equal effect, you'll find. Okay, let's deal with the takeoff. All right, so you're on the plane, you're sitting there, the plane has gone and taxied, and it's ready to take off. Even though I have this fear of takeoff, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. This fear of takeoff, 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 this fear of takeoff. So reassess. Are you still at a 10, or are you at a 5, and so on? And then we repeat again as we did before. Okay. Even though I have this remaining fear of takeoff, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. And now I'm going to try a slight variation. It's the engines. It's the speed. It's the engines humming. It's the roar of the engines. It's the speed. It's the roar of the engines. It's the roar of the engines. It's the speed. So you can mix this up and try and nail exactly what it is that's troubling you. And just play with it. Okay. I hope you have a very stress and fearless flight. Fearless flight. Okay. Feel free to leave comments or message me if you like. All right. Happy flying.